Good Monday afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. New details just in this afternoon about a shooting in broad daylight on Lake Street and Stevens Avenue near 35W South. Minneapolis police say one person is fighting for his life and others are hurt in this shooting. Right now, investigators are getting conflicting reports of exactly what happened. However, this area near Lake Street, Stevens Avenue, and 35W has seen several reports recently of violent crime. Chief O'Hara says it appears one person was firing from the Midtown Greenway bike path, but they don't know if that was the only person shooting. Witnesses on the scene say they initially thought they heard fireworks, but realized quickly it was a shooting and ran for cover.
How many shots do you think you heard?
At least like 30 or 40 gunshots.
So
it was a lot. They just kept going. They were trying to hit anybody, probably. I don't think it was a target shooting. I think it was like everybody was just gonna,
At the Capitol today, emotional testimony from parents of Annunciation Catholic school children at a hearing about guns in Minnesota. They're speaking out after their kids were injured in a deadly shooting at the school while they were holding a back-to-school mass. One bill discussed today would ban certain types of guns in Minnesota, like assault-style weapons that have large-capacity magazines and can fire several bullets per second. Parents say now is the time to act.
You have the power to decide what the next mass shooter will or will not be armed with. You have the power to make a difference and have a positive impact on the safety of our kids. I beg you, take responsibility and don't let this opportunity pass you by. Our kids deserve a future filled with hope. Thank you.
The Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus says more mental health resources are needed to keep people who should not have guns from getting them. Another bill up for discussion today appears to be written by Senator John Hoffman, who in June became victim to a political assassination attempt. His bill would increase the penalty for impersonating an officer. We'll have much more on this hearing coming up on Kare 11 News at 4, 5, and 6. Well, the pain is still fresh just one day after hundreds came together at the Lake Harriet Bandshell to say goodbye to 10-year-old Harper Moisky. Harper was one of the two children killed in the Annunciation Church shooting. Joe McCoy takes us there.
With light beaming from heaven.
How to be a light. That's what Harper taught us.
Those who loved or even just knew Harper Moisky came together to celebrate the 10-year-old's life that was taken during the Annunciation school shooting.
She was sharp, curious, funny, and fierce. She had her own point of view, her own sense of style, her own way of being.
Harper's parents, Jackie and Mike, sharing how special their little girl was, who always beat to her own drum.
One of our favorite stories about Harper back in her early preschool days, truly her first preschool ever, her teacher asked her what her name was, and without looking up from her coloring sheet, she said, "Badass."
Harper Moisky was all in. She was all in as a beautiful child of great creativity and great joy, great humor.
A joy that the family and those leading the service called on everyone to embrace.
It could be joy splayed out across the heavens like diamonds of love. If we dare it, if we dream it, if we put down our guns and mouths and divisions.
Love filled the sidewalks as Harper's light shined from the rafters.
She just packed so much joy and imagination into her short 10 years. And thank God she made it all count.
That's where you'll find me.
Happening today, the trial begins for an Iowa woman who was charged with killing Liara Sy from Minneapolis. Last June, the suspect, Margot Lewis, crashed on I-90 in Olmsted County. Authorities say they found Liara's body in the back of Margot's car. After finding signs of violence in Sy's apartment, prosecutors allege Lewis stabbed Sy and then drove her body to Olmsted County before crashing. Happening right now, after a week-long delay, the man accused of killing 2 women in a crash while fleeing police makes his first appearance in court. Today, Edward Arrington is facing the charges brought by the state, fleeing an officer causing death. But he also faces federal charges that are eligible for the death penalty. Police say he carjacked a vehicle on Lake Street in Minneapolis earlier this month, firing shots along the way. Authorities spotted the stolen car in North Minneapolis and attempted to make a stop, leading to a high-speed chase. Arrington then allegedly crashed into an innocent driver's car, killing 2 women and injuring a 5-year-old child. In Utah, charges are expected to be filed tomorrow against the alleged shooter of the conservative activist Charlie Kirk. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson faces charges of aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, and discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily harm. Officials say the suspect is currently in a separate housing unit in the jail under a special watch. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox says investigators are looking at a note that the alleged shooter left.
I don't think anyone can change the trajectory of this. It truly is about every single one of us. And I can't emphasize enough the damage that social media and the internet is doing to all of us.
NBC News says Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has told staff to identify military members who mocked or condoned Kirk's death so they can be punished. 2 defense officials say several service members have already been relieved from their jobs because of it. Right now, investigators are trying to figure out what led up to a shooting in South St. Paul that killed a St. Olaf College football player. The college announced that Matthew Lee, a junior on the school's football team, was the victim in an early morning shooting on Friday. 1 other person was injured, and the suspect was found within hours and arrested. Ian Russell has the latest.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted.
Through prayers and tears,
his classmates, family, friends, his team,
a campus comes together.
Let us pray.
A horrific start to a new year.
I was hoping it obviously wasn't true or wasn't confirmed.
As the St. Olaf community mourns one of their own.
The greatest fear is like the death of a child. And that's how we see our players. And so just thinking about them and thinking about their families.
The college announced Friday that Matthew Lee, a junior on the school's football team, was shot and killed in South St. Paul Friday morning. South St. Paul police confirmed they are investigating a homicide.
Loving God, we are grieving.
Lee's head football coach, James Killian,
just like an awesome kid, an awesome person,
says the linebacker was a leader and others looked up to him.
That's cut short and you don't get to see what that life was going to be.
Killian says he's spoken to Lee's family, offering help in whatever way they can.
Be present among us now.
A life cut short and a campus in mourning as his extended teammates grieve as one.
In any family, organization, group, Matthew Lee's the guy you would want with you.
Well, finally, some good news. Farm Aid 40 is still coming this upcoming weekend after a successful deal between Teamsters and the University of Minnesota was reached on Friday night. The deal ended the strike that could have canceled Farm Aid 40 at Huntington Bank Stadium after organizers said, quote, our artist, production team, and partners have made it clear they will not cross a picket line. According to the union, the agreement includes a 3.5% pay increase for workers during the first 2 years and a 3% increase for the 3rd year. Their contract's expiration date will remain June 30th.
I think we just had every confidence that this would work out in our favor because we leaned on the people who were most affected. They knew what they needed. And so I'm so grateful that we showed up in that way and things turned out as they should have.
The union represents 1,400 food service, maintenance, and custodial workers who will still have to vote on that tentative agreement. Well, today, the Trump administration says a deal has been reached for the ownership of TikTok. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, quote, a framework for a TikTok deal has been agreed to. It's just days before the Chinese-based video app was set to be banned in the U.S. again. Very few details have been released, but we do know a major sticking point of the deal will be who controls TikTok's algorithm. According to Bessent, 2 private companies based in the U.S. will own the U.S. side of the app, but would not say who. TikTok had been in legal limbo for months now after a U.S. law threatened to ban it unless it was sold to a U.S.-based company. Developing this afternoon, we just learned Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy will be out for the upcoming game against the Bengals on Sunday. According to head coach Kevin O'Connell, McCarthy has an ankle injury. That's after a rough performance against the Falcons last night, where he was sacked several times. Sports director Reggie Wilson is hearing from the Vikings head coach right now. Stick with KARE 11 Plus and check on KARE11.com for more details. Vikings fans are feeling a little bit bruised today after one of the worst home openers in more than a decade. Final score to that one, 22-6. Sports director Reggie Wilson has a closer look from U.S. Bank Stadium.
Call it deja vu. The Sunday night game against the Falcons played out just like last week in Chicago, only it didn't get better as the game went on. No fourth quarter heroics to be had. Let's pick things up in the fourth. J.J. McCarthy under duress all night, gets sacked for the sixth time and loses the ball. Falcons recover, leads to a field goal. Vikes down 15-6. McCarthy trying to make something happen on the next drive, and he misses a wide open Jalen Naylor. Leads to a Falcons touchdown on the next possession as they bleed the clock. Just a mess of a night for the Vikings all around. Ryan Kelly, Aaron Jones go down with injuries. McCarthy throws one more interception before the night ends. Falcons win 22-6. So the Vikings move to 1-1 this season. Up next, the Bengals next week right here back at the bank. At U.S. Bank Stadium, Reggie Wilson, KARE 11 Sports.
Well, better news for the Minnesota Lynx. They are now just 8 wins away from a national championship. They put on a big show for the start of the WNBA playoffs at Target Center, absolutely crushing the Valkyries 101-72. Game 2 is in San Jose on Wednesday. If they win that one, they will move on to the best of 5 semifinals. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.